Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Tom Cruise. When it comes to Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes' relationship, it makes a lot more sense than the obsessed tabloids diving in to learn about why the couple truly went their separate ways. Even though the press breathlessly covered every aspect of the pair's relationship, a lot of people still have no idea what led to their split. But if you follow Tom's admission about Scientology and his role within the controversial religion, then you might be one of those people that concluded his religion was solely responsible for their split. However, in reality, it seems naive since their relationship was far more complicated to believe that the couple split for that very reason, but was saying that it did play a major role in the divorce since Katie had to make it clear that her daughter needed to be protected from Tom in the church. Not to mention, even Tom was able to get it approved that Katie couldn't date for 5 years following the couple's divorce so it wouldn't embarrass him, which proves that he was a little controlling in his marriage with Katie. Number 9, Amber Heard. After just a year of being married, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard would call it quits. And during this time, Amber would make some absurd comments about why she chose to leave Johnny, where she claimed their relationship was crumbling because of his heavy drinking, substance use, violence, and domestic abuse. While friends at Johnny leaped to the star's defense and called Amber a gold digger who was just fabricating all of those claims in order to squeeze as much money as she could from their brief union. While the whole world was beginning to choose to take Amber's side, many people should have really listened to Johnny's friends, as they were right, as Amber was really just a vindictive ex that wanted to ruin Johnny's career. Ultimately, however, though, during the pair's divorce, Johnny agreed to pay Amber $7 million, and Amber pledged to donate the money to charity, something Amber never ended up doing. Later, Johnny was then able to repair his reputation in Hollywood after he won his defamation case against Amber Heard and sued her for $15 million in the process. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Coming number 8, we have Angelina Jolie. While Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie first met on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, both were still very much married to other people. While Angelina was with Billy Bob Thornton, Brad was with Jennifer Aniston, and it started off to be one of the most scandalous relationships Hollywood has ever seen, and it soon morphed into one of Hollywood's most solid, stable marriages despite frequent tabloid stories that started to say cracks were starting to form in their relationship. And those rumors turned out to be more true than we realized, as when the pair announced their plans to divorce back in September 2016, things immediately took an ugly turn as Angelina started to make huge accusations that claimed Brad had gotten physical with not just her but one of the couple's children during a fight on a private jet. While the accusations have been one giant spectacle, some have extended compassion to Jolie and her kids, while others have sided with Pitt as they have started to expose Angelina's dark past and painted her as a vindictive ex on a mission to ruin Brad's reputation the same way Amber Heard did to Johnny Depp. Number 7. Kris Jenner. 11 months after Bruce Jenner, who is now known as Caitlyn Jenner, and Kris announced their separation, they would soon head towards a divorce after being married to each other for over 25 years. The divorce would follow up with the tabloids claiming that Bruce was planning on transitioning. Those reports ended up being true, as the Olympic gold medalist soon re-emerged to the public as Caitlyn Jenner. While in the beginning Kris tried to play things off and make everybody believe that their split was amicable, that would all soon change after Caitlyn decided to publish a memoir called Secrets of My Life. And in this memoir, Caitlyn painted an unflattering portrait of Kris, which resulted in Kris bash Caitlyn publicly on her family's reality TV show, of course, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where she said she's just literally started 3 families with 3 different people and effed everyone over. And it really makes you wonder if it was Caitlyn who effed Kris over, or was it Kris who effed Caitlyn over. Number 6. Kanye West. The epic split between Kim Kardashian and Kanye West was an epic mess. With its generous cast of plus ones, parenting responsibilities, brand fortunes, a family TV franchise, political and racial trolling, it became a perfect divorce for the Instagram age. Even though Kanye spent most of the divorce process trolling the Kardashians, the split appeared to be progressing smoothly enough. While no split is easy, Kanye definitely made things hard for Kim, especially when she was trying to move on with Pete Davidson. Kanye was so mad about Kim moving on that he even started to troll Pete, and it got to the point that Pete even had to take a step back from from the relationship, split from Kim so he could focus on his mental health. Kim then started to weigh in her options as Kanye started to hit the headlines for his very controversial comments amid his equally controversial presidential campaign. In the end, Kanye would lose around $2.1 billion of his assets, not to mention the billions of dollars that he lost from agencies and brands dropping him as a client. Number 5. Jamie Foxx. Stars witnessed Jamie Foxx get kicked out of a restaurant while he was assaulted at his table. Jamie was reportedly having dinner at the restaurant when a customer approached his table and complained to him that him and his friends were being too loud. When the group proceeded to not care, the person yelled, "You don't want to mess with me? I'm from New York." Jamie then fired back, "F you, I'm from Oakland." The person then began to charge at Foxx, and some witnesses even said Foxx began to fight back and took the person down. Both parties were eventually thrown out of the restaurant for their bad behavior. Number 4, we have Dennis Rodman. Charles Oakley had to once kick Dennis Rodman out of his steakhouse for eating off of other people's plates. Charles said he agreed to meet with Dennis at his steakhouse after the two made an appearance at a Miami event together. However, before he arrived, he got a phone call from his manager telling him to get to the location as fast as he could. When Charles arrived to the location, he looked through the window and saw Dennis eating, then moving to the next table and eating some more. Charles went straight up to Dennis and asked him what he was doing. Dennis responded by saying, "I'm relaxing and trying to entertain." Now, Charles clearly wasn't impressed with the star's action and proceeded to kick him out of the restaurant. He then told the basketball star to never come near him again, destroying their relationship off the court. What Dennis thought was a joke clearly wasn't, and he should have known better than to do that in a high-class restaurant. At number 3, we have Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage was once kicked out of a restaurant after being mistaken for being homeless. Now, the Oscar winner was at the Laurie Prime Rib restaurant located in Las Vegas. In a video later obtained by The Sun, you could see the star sitting on the restaurant sofa in a drunken state. Now, it's easy to see why the restaurant would have mistaken the star first as being homeless, considering he was wearing cheetah print PJ pants and he had no shoes on. While waiting for the table, he was acting rowdy and proceeded to get into an altercation with the staff. Even after being escorted out of the restaurant, Cage continued to argue with the staff while trying to go back in. While Nicolas did ignore to comment about the incident, he did say his work did help him avoid getting into situations like the one at the restaurant. Number 2, Jenna Fischer. Now, Jenna actually wasn't kicked out of a restaurant in real life. However, her character Pam in the comedy show The Office was. It all started when Jenna decided to tweet a photo of her pictured in front of the restaurant where she asked if she should try to go in. Pam in the show was so tipsy she continually began to fall out of her chair and displayed some pretty rude behavior. It got to the point that the restaurant owner stated she was no longer welcome back at the restaurant chain ever again. Number 1, James Corden. Recently, James Corden was banned from a famous New York City restaurant after being a jerk to wait staff. The owner of the restaurant, Keith McNally, posted to his Instagram to state the comedian was effectively banned from his famous bistro after he became one of the most abusive customers to enter location since it opened. So you're probably wondering what led James to be banned. Well, Keith detailed 2 examples of how the star misconducted himself at the restaurant, which led to his ban being indefinite. The first example is he was extremely nasty to servers, demanded drinks to come to his table, and that they be comped altogether. The second incident took place when James' wife, Julia, received her egg yolk omelet only to find that there was some egg whites mixed in. The omelet was then remade and brought back to the table with fries instead of a salad. James then continued to yell at the staff that they didn't know how to do their jobs. Eventually, the situation was resolved when the floor manager decided to step in. James has yet responded to Keith's allegation. However, if one thing's clear, he definitely won't be eating at this location for a while. Coming at number 10 today, we have the Kardashians. Being the most powerful family in Hollywood comes with a price, as not only are the Kardashian-Jenners' lives filled with drama and ongoing tensions, but it seems like when you get on the family's bad side, they will do everything in their power to end your career. Just look at Jordyn Woods for an example. For the longest time, she was Kylie Jenner's best friend, and they all even took Jordyn in as family. But after news broke that she allegedly made out with Tristan Thompson after he gave her a quick peck on the lips before leaving a party, the family couldn't believe it at first given how close Jordyn was with them for years. But after multiple sources confirmed the betrayal, the family would mock Woods, ruin her career, and Kylie even kicked her out of her guest home. And they don't just do it with their friends, they will also do it to strong females in power like Taylor Swift, as Kim went on to manipulate phone calls to make it look like Taylor agreed to Kanye's song Famous. This family just has all sorts of bad energy that you should just avoid altogether. Number 9, the Biebers. So tapping into all the recent Hailey Bieber and Selena Gomez drama, it appears as if Justin Bieber has finally entered the chat, as he has thrown some major shade at his ex, which proves that he and his wife aren't exactly the nicest people in Hollywood. The singer, who threw his 29th birthday over the weekend, could be seen celebrating with his nearest and dearest, but one person who for sure wasn't on the guest list was indeed Selena Gomez. Although he did appear, however, to reference the actress with the party favors he handed out that day. Guests who attended the party were given a silver souvenir that had the words "I'm so thankful that I didn't end up with what I thought I wanted" engraved into the side. While Justin did not address the meaning behind the gift, fans were quick to assume that it was definitely about his ex, and even branded the singer as being petty, as the gift pretty much was screaming, "Hey guys, look at me, I'm still living in the past, and I'm just as miserable as my wife, and that's why we deserve each other." Also, admitting to your wife that she was your second choice on your birthday had to hurt, but then again, maybe he meant to do it on purpose so she knew. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in number 8, we have the Smiths. So back in 2016, the New York Post ran a scathing opinion piece about the Smiths' children titled "Any Reasonable Parent Would Be Ashamed of Will Smith's Kids." And while it wasn't the only story to criticize the power couple's parenting at the time, it was probably one of the most insulting ones. With the article stating that Will and Jada were horrible parents, and the article failed to mention how messed up the family could be at times thanks to Jada's odd choices that she makes her family follow. Let's not forget that they allegedly opened a secret Scientology school in one of their own homes, as in 2017 they would be exposed by former Scientologist Lee Remini, who claimed that Jada has been a long-time down low member. Now both Will and Jada have denied that they have any sorts of affiliation with the controversial religion, and that they were never swingers, but when it was revealed that the couple was in fact in an open marriage, we knew right away that there had to be truth behind their Scientology affiliation. And what makes matters even worse is that they even sent their own children to the short-lived school that was widely believed to be a center for Scientology, called New Village Leadership Academy, which opened in 2008 before quietly shutting down 5 years later, and Will and Jada were even pictured among high top people in Scientology within that school. Number 7, the Markles plus Harry. Prior to Meghan Markle entering into the royal family, she was known to be pretty problematic, but it's clear that the star just doesn't really understand what family means, as she created a pretty dysfunctional one for herself while she ruined her husband's relationship to his family in the process. And it makes you wonder when the two are going to stop bashing their families and put all their drama aside. But even celebrities are starting to claim that they haven't had such warm conversations with the couple, as Rebel Wilson once revealed on Watch What Happens Live that Meghan wasn't so cool with her when both of their conversations got ultimately awkward, as Meghan wasn't as naturally warm as she was trying to paint herself to be. But we already knew this, because let's not forget the royal staff said they treated them so bad, some even had to quit being members of the staff. But it just seems at this point that the couple's trying to rebrand their image and grow their family, but they just keep making more mistakes in the process. Number 6, the Hiltons. There's no doubt that the Hiltons are a very successful family, but on the other hand, they also have so much drama as they do money. For instance, Paris Hilton is no stranger to the spotlight, and since she's been in it, she hasn't always made the best decision, and even her grandfather believes that she may have had a negative impact on the family's reputation. I mean, he's really not wrong to make that statement, as she has bullied half of Hollywood. Her outrageous partying has been spread across the tabloids since she entered into the spotlight, and because of it, her inheritance from her grandfather has been lowered significantly due to the fact that he doesn't approve of some of the things she has done. But to be honest, this family has been associated with questionable behavior for as long as time. Not only that, but even Paris's mother advised her daughters to marry not for love, but to marry for money. And she's even started to advise her granddaughters to do the same thing, which is actually kind of disgusting because for one, money doesn't buy you happiness, and for two, how do you expect men to love them when they're just going after their pockets?
At number 5, Sharon Osbourne. Talk show host Sharon Osbourne found herself in some hot water earlier last year after she made some comments about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry that not only caused her to get backlash, but also lose a friend. Sharon Osbourne and Cheryl Underwood got into a heated argument surrounding Piers Morgan's comments about Meghan Markle. During this feud, Sharon backed up Pierce's comments about Meghan Markle's mental health, and this frustrated Cheryl because she didn't like the comments that were being made about those involved. The two got into a very heated debate that ended with a lot of drama, sparking a conversation about Sharon's ideals. She was called a racist, and a number of other accusations came out about how she's used various slurs in the past when talking about her other co-hosts. As a result of this, the network for their show launched an internal investigation, and that ended with Sharon being let go from the show. At number 4, Kelly Osbourne. Now, we just talked about Sharon Osbourne and her talk show scandal, but her daughter Kelly has also been in her share of controversies, including one that happened while on a talk show that kind of ruined her career because of a rude comment that she made. During an episode of The View, Kelly Osbourne really missed the mark when trying to clap back at Donald Trump, even though she was trying to diss Trump, and ended up getting in enough trouble herself. Just shortly before this episode aired, Donald Trump, who was at the time only a presidential nominee, was saying offensive things about the Latinx community and how he wanted to deport them. I'm sure we're all familiar with this one. Well, in a very poor attempt at clapping back at Trump's racist comments, Kelly said, quote, "If you kick every Latina out of this country, then who's going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?" What Kelly was trying to do was defend the Latinx community, but rather than stand up for them, she ended up offending them even more, as her remarks were interpreted as saying that the Latinx community is only good for being housekeepers, as depicted in many racial stereotypes. After facing so much backlash and realizing the gravity of her words, Kelly issued an apology saying, quote, "I want to start by saying I always take responsibility for my actions. In this particular case, I will take responsibility for my poor choice of words, but I will not apologize for being a racist, as I am not." At number 3, James Corden. Recently, TV host James Corden found himself in some trouble with fans after his Spill Your Guts segment of his show started facing backlash. Fans were calling for James to take accountability after he made some comments about some Asian foods that he had on the show that some fans thought were offensive. Because the foods that they use in the Spill Your Guts segment are supposed to be ones that you wouldn't eat, the fact that some Asian foods like balut were used and called, quote, "disgusting," made a lot of people take to the internet to call for accountability and an apology from James Corden. Apparently, James had been making these types of comments about a lot of different Asian dishes on a few occasions, so some people have said enough is enough and even created a petition calling for the removal of the Spill Your Guts segment. At number 2, Mark Summers. When it comes to talk shows, sometimes you can never predict what's gonna happen. These shows are often used to catch up with a celebrity and just talk about life and whatnot, but sometimes these conversations can turn into brawls when the wrong thing is said, and this is pretty much what happened between Burt Reynolds and Mark Summers in 1994 when they were both guests on Jay Leno's talk show. The two men got into a heated brawl after some jokes were made that offended the both of them. Essentially, Mark Summers made a comment about how he was still married, while Burt at the time was going through a divorce, and it made Burt pretty upset. In retaliation, Burt threw some water at Mark, and that's what sparked the fight. It gets to the point where Jay Leno just can't keep the show together because his guests were fighting so much, and producers even went so far as to bring out pies for Mark and Burt to make it look like this fight was staged. After this, people got talking, and some people came to the conclusion that this brawl was uncalled for, and since Mark started it, he felt the most backlash. And finally, at number 1, Ellen. In late 2019, actress Dakota Johnson sat down for an interview with Ellen, and some people see this interview as the one that started this whole Ellen is mean scandal because of how rude Ellen was. During the interview, Ellen berated Dakota about the fact that she wasn't invited to Dakota's birthday party. People saw this whole debate as incredibly unnecessary, but the part that people loved the most was how Dakota shut Ellen down. When Ellen said that she was mad for not being invited to Dakota's birthday party, Dakota in response said, quote, quote, "Actually no, that's not the truth, Ellen, you were invited. No, last time when I was on the show last year, you gave me a bunch of crap about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited," end quote. Dakota was even backed up by one of the show's producers who reassured Ellen that she was invited and that she just didn't show up because at the time, she claimed that Dakota's Malibu party was quote, "a little too far for her." Dakota shutting Ellen down and not being made to look like the bad guy Ellen intended was great for fans, and following Ellen's cancellation, fans started to realize just how rude Ellen was. Now before we wrap things up for today, I want you guys to leave a comment down below telling me what you think of these celebrities' behaviors on talk shows. Were they in the wrong or in the right? Let me know your thoughts down below.
First up, we have Saoirse Ronan and the awkward mistake. As a journalist, it's your job to get facts as correct as possible, but sometimes during certain circumstances, it's easy to get lost in the sauce. At the 2016 Oscars red carpet, an ABC News journalist was speaking to Saoirse when she had stopped to wave at someone, who happened to be writer Nick Hornby, who she had worked with for the film Brooklyn. She was nominated for Best Actress for her role in said film. The reporter confused the small interaction as something between family members and assumed Hornby was her father. When asked, Ronan obviously confirmed that he was the writer and not her father. It was a mild slip-up and not a big deal because, things like that happen. Honestly, this taught me to never assume and stick to my script or whatever to avoid any awkward run-ins like that. Next in line, we have Scarlett Johansson and Ryan Seacrest. Johansson was being interviewed at the 2017 Oscars red carpet when she was asked about her shoes. To clarify, Seacrest was asking if she had worn the heels she was wearing to the Oscars rehearsals that they have for the presenters. She responded with, "What a ridiculous question to ask," as it seemed to be so random for her. But Seacrest explained that he was asking because he had heard that fellow actress Halle Berry had done it. She accepted his response and continued to explain that she did not wear the heels, opting for comfortability. Up next is interviewer Jess Cagle calling Hidden Figures by the wrong name. It was around this time in 2017 when people were calling Hidden Figures Hidden Fences. The mistake started back at the Golden Globes when the movie Hidden Figures and Fences, very separate movies, were said in the same sentence, and that's how the mistake was made. The internet was already preparing themselves for reporters to make that same mistakes at the Oscars, and they were right. Editor-in-chief of People magazine, Jess Cagle messed it up when trying to compliment it as extraordinary alongside the film Moonlight, and was quick to correct himself, but it happened, and Twitter was there for it. Coming up is Tiffany Haddish's ultimate fangirl moment. So imagine you're at the Oscars and your idol is there. What do? Would you wait until they're within your closest vicinity, or do you seek them out? Tiffany Haddish was a woman on a mission as she wanted to greet Meryl Streep. In a video taken at the 90th Academy Awards, you can see Haddish waiting outside of the rope that was meant for the designated red carpet. With Streep just meters away, she probably contemplated her options before just going for it and climbing over the rope. I forgot to mention she was in a beautiful long gown as well, so to be able to witness that in real time must have been hilarious. Streep was seemingly preoccupied as Haddish steps in and literally blocks her path. The two make eye contact and they hug while exchanging words that are hard to make out. But nevertheless, Haddish got to have her chance with Streep and it was everything. I know some people would think this to be rude, which is why I included it, but hey, you do it too. Next on the list is Sacha Baron Cohen and his urn. Cohen arrived at the red carpet dressed head to toe in his costume for his character Admiral General Aladdin. He arrived with staff personnel, 2 women who were obviously paid actors, and a cremation urn. Aside from his outfit, he was also completely in character too. That method acting really helping him out here. He was being interviewed by Ryan Seacrest, and Seacrest played into the bit as well. As he explained why he brought the urn, he inconspicuously lifted it and let it spill all over Seacrest. Clearly, it was a setup, probably some sort of marketing strategy from the movie's team.
Halfway at number 5, Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams basically trashes most celebrities on her show and has a reputation for taking low blows when talking about celebrities. She's made enemies out of practically everyone in the business for her mean-spirited rants. One person she has savagely gone after is Meghan Markle. When Harry and Meghan first got together, she said, quote, "There's way too much drama with her and this will not work out." When the two later got married and Meghan became a royal, Wendy said said on her show that Meghan, quote, weaseled her way into the kingdom. Then when Wendy was talking about the documentary Harry and Meghan: An African Journey, Meghan spoke about how she was warned that she should stay away from Harry, as the tabloids would ruin her life. But Wendy didn't buy that and said, quote, yes, you did. You knew exactly what you were doing. Please don't try to garner sympathy from us. In at number 4, Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson has just made enemies out of the Paul brothers after he publicly trashed Jake Paul during his boxing stream. Before the Jake Paul-Ben Askren fight, Davidson, who was the host, went viral several times for mocking Paul during backstage segments. At one point, Davidson even asked a question that ended up getting bleeped in the broadcast. Many believe it was related to the recent claims by a woman that Jake forced himself on her. Later, Davidson also said that he should be in jail. After the fight, Jake and the entire Paul family trashed Davidson, with Jake saying that Pete will not be invited back to host. Jake's dad even said at one point, quote, can I fight that piece of shit? And at number 3, Michael Bay. Not only has director Michael Bay been referred to as a major sexist by celebrities like Megan Fox, he probably doesn't mind, as celebrities speculate that he wants a dictator-like reputation on set. Apparently, he treats his set like a war zone and directs his staff like they're his subordinates that need to be put in place. But he doesn't keep those strict rules for himself, and he's been known to show up hours late for shoots, and then the moment his feet touch the ground, it's go, go, go from there. He basically wants everything done very fast and leaves no room for joking around or even contemplating anything. His staff has also claimed that he berates them for hours and hours on set with harassing comments. In at number 2, Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber has done some insane stuff over the years, like almost running over a photographer in one of his cars. He's done other controversial stuff like spit over a crowd of adoring fans. This happened in Toronto. Justin took to his balcony where hundreds of people were desperately waiting outside to see a glimpse of the star. But when Justin came out, he actually spat on them. Him and his wife also don't seem to have thick skin and have been known to sue people on TikTok who expose things about them that they don't like one plastic surgeon who exposed what procedures that he thought Hailey had done. And finally, at number 1, Michael Jordan. I actually didn't know this before, but apparently Michael Jordan is one of the rudest and meanest celebrities out there. Rapper Chamillionaire exposed a story of when Jordan was incredibly rude to him. The rapper met Jordan at a party and wanted a picture and autograph with him, which Jordan refused. Chamillionaire said that Jordan told him, quote, I'm not taking pictures with anybody. Then when the rapper tried to explain that he was a huge fan and had just purchased a $7,000 commemorative Michael Jordan jersey, Jordan replied saying, quote, you know what? I'll tell you what, I'll pay you $15,000 right now for a jersey from me and I'll take a picture with you. Jordan is known to be a businessman, but that is just ridiculous, especially after he had already bought a jersey. That's crazy. Jordan was also apparently banned from a Miami country club because he was rude to an official when he was confronted about what he was wearing. Jordan's team later released a statement saying, quote, I guess it's their loss, as MJ is a great golfer and a great guest.
Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Isaac Mizrahi. While Isaac Mizrahi was acting as an interviewer for E! On the red carpet for the Golden Globes, he would have a troubling interview with Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett, who is attending as a supporting actress nominee for Match Point, would be left feeling shocked after Isaac decided to touch her chest in the interview because he wanted to know if the actress had a bra under her stunning red dress. As he gave it a quick squeeze, he would then say, I'm just taking notes for next time I make a... Then he would be cut off by Scarlett, who said, what is going on? And then she said, absolutely take all the notes you want. The actress then later said, oh my god, while Isaac did later apologize for offending anyone. The Academy of Motion Pictures of Arts then had to issue their own statement when they said, I can predict we would be extraordinary angry if that happened on our red carpet. I cannot predict what we would do afterwards. Number 9, Kesha. Remember that time when Jerry Seinfeld savagely refused to hug Kesha during a red carpet interview? Not once, not twice, but 3 painful times. It was truly the stuff of nightmares, but watching it from the comfort of our own homes made for some great laughs. Although Kesha was silent about the issue for some time, she would come out in 2017 to break the silence on what happened after she rudely interrupted Jerry in an interview to ask him for a hug. Jerry would then later sit down for an interview with AJ Calloway where he explained that he didn't hug Kesha because he simply didn't know her and admitted, I'm 63. I don't know every pop star. I have to meet someone to say hello. Gotta start somewhere. For Kesha's part, she remained pretty quiet side on the whole issue, as she was presumably recovering from all the overwhelming embarrassment of being rejected so publicly like that. However, a day after the video went viral, she did post an Instagram photo of her cat with some pretty suggestive hashtags. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and, subscribe to the channel. Coming number 8, we have Tommy Lee Jones. When Joan and Melissa Rivers were asked who their least favorite person to interview on the red carpet was, they didn't have to think twice before responding, and they both ended up saying Tommy Lee Jones. In 2013, HuffPost Live asked the famous mother and daughter duo about their worst celebrity interview, and Melissa immediately said Tommy Lee Jones, to which Joan responded by saying, "Oh, without a question." HuffPost then went on to ask the pair to elaborate on the assertion, to which Melissa went on to know, "He's at the top of everybody's list. He doesn't want to be there, he's unhappy doing the red carpet, and he's going to make everyone else around him just as unhappy in the experience." Joan then would go on to sum up the issue nicely by saying, "Jones went to Harvard and is very impressed by that accomplishment." She then went on to say, "We all went to Ivy League schools, calm down." Number 7, John Travolta. In 2015, John Travolta once again became the talk of the Oscars after he had a pretty off encounter with Scarlett Johansson that had some of us scratching our heads. Scarlett, who co-starred with John in the film A Love Story for Bobby Long, told the Associated Press that the picture of him kissing her on the red carpet was taken out of context. She then went on to say there is nothing strange, creepy, or inappropriate about John Travolta. The image that is circulating is unfortunate, still framed from a live action encounter that was a very sweet and total welcome. She then went on to add that the photo did not reflect the live moment and that we were all being misguided and misinformed, and that she hadn't seen John in some years and it was always a pleasure to be greeted by him, yet her face in the photo said otherwise. Number 6, Ryan Seacrest. In 2019, Grammy viewers would slam Ryan Seacrest for his awkward Lady Gaga red carpet interview. When Ryan tried to interview the superstar, he didn't so much ask her questions as he just chose to speak to her. And when Lady Gaga did try to speak, Ryan would just end up cutting her off without even giving her the chance to speak properly. He then went on to tell her that she should be performing at the Oscars, for which she is a multiple nominee for, and she responded by saying, "That was like, answer my question, but I'm not asking one." Ryan then tried to recover from the interview, but then made an awkward joke about him not asking her questions before saying they were cutting to break. Gaga was a good sport in handling the awkward interview, playing along with his joke that carried on for way too long as there was a delay in going to the advertisements. Before the interview was over, she did pull a host of awkward faces before eventually hugging Ryan and leaving. Number 5, Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods was married to model Ellen Nordegren, he started to go viral after Tiger cheated on her. Headlines would soon start to claim that Ellen attacked the famous golfer with a golf club right after she learned about his infidelity, which led to subsequent revelations that he had been carrying on in numerous affairs with multiple women throughout their relationship. The ensuing scandal would then go on to cost the golfer millions of dollars as he lost endorsement deals, and then when the pair's divorce was finally settled, it would be reported that the golfer lost millions again, as he was then forced to fork out $100 million to pay his ex-wife. Not only did Tiger's career end, but he also lost between $5 to $12 billion, and then he had to spend 45 days in therapy. Number 4, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen's ill-fated marriage to Denise Richards ended in 2005 with a seemingly endless parade of bombshells that came from Denise as she painted a picture to the public about what it was like actually to be married to Charlie Sheen. Denise's allegations against Charlie included violence, substances, X-rated videos, escorts, threats, and even more. Charlie then would not do him any favors as he would then start to refer to Denise with such charming epithets, such as the time he called her a washed-up piglet shame pile. Since the two got divorced, the exes have somewhat appeared to be friendly and other times not, as if you go back to January of 2016, Denise would sue Charlie for more than $1 million, claiming that he evicted Denise and her children from the home he purchased for her and their children, where she would also allege in court documents that he once even told their daughter Lola that she was a pig and told her that he was going to end her and Denise. Number 3, Heather Mills. When Paul McCartney's 6-year marriage to Heather Mills came to a bitter end in 2008, Heather would be quick to claim that the former Beatle member was constantly stoned throughout their marriage and that he ultimately held back her career. While Paul went on to deny Heather's accusations, like he should, Heather would soon start to paint herself to be a gold digger as she started to seek half of Paul's fortune, which was estimated at being hundreds of millions at the time. In the end, Heather was able to walk away with $50 million in settlement, as apparently there was no prenup. To say otherwise, since the divorce, Paul has admitted that marrying Heather was a prime contender for being the biggest mistake he's ever made in his life. And since the star has remarried, Heather every now and then continues to attempt to drag his name into the mud as she talks to the press, like the time she mentioned that the only reason Paul was still working with Kanye and Rihanna was due to the fact that the star was desperate to stay relevant. But he's always been relevant. Number 2, Jesse James. When Sandra Bullock was married to Jesse James, life couldn't have been any better for the actress, as she had just won her first Oscar and she was in the process of adopting her son David, all while she was happily married to motorcycle consumer and Discovery Channel host Jesse James. What appeared to be a solid union, however, all came crashing down when the tabloids started to reveal that Jesse and Sandra's relationship wasn't as perfect as we all thought. When the media outlets all over the world started to admit that Jesse had been cheating on the American sweetheart with a bevy of heavily tattooed biker type women, the marriage ended shortly after, and since the two have gone their separate ways, Jesse consistently describes himself as being the most hated man in the world, but honestly, now he's just become the most forgotten man in the world. And coming in number 1 today, we have Mary Harvey. So when comedian and TV host Steve Harvey, best known for his role in the game show Family Feud, filed for a divorce from his second wife, Mary Harvey. When their divorce was finally settled in 2005, with Mary receiving 3 of the couple's homes as well as $40,000 a month until 2009, the ugliness didn't seem to stop. Even after their divorce was finalized, as in 2013, Mary had to spend 20 days in the slammer for violating a confidentiality clause in the divorce agreement, and in spring of 2017 launched a $60 million lawsuit against her ex and accused the Family Feud host, among other things, as being a soul sucker. She went on to describe her life in the marriage as being a combination of torture, deprivation, and brainwashing. Steve's attorneys then responded by dismissing her suit as meritless, frivolous, and completely false.
At number 10, Hugh Grant. Hugh was once banned from The Daily Show after having a really bad interview that really affected the show's host because the actor was being so rude. Jon Stewart, the former host of The Daily Show, said in an interview that Hugh Grant was the absolute worst guest he'd had on the show. He spoke about how when Hugh was on to promote his film Did You Hear About the Morgans, Hugh was making a huge scene backstage and was just being really mean and annoying to the people who were working on set. Apparently, Hugh was allegedly going around saying that he had better places to be. He also got really upset about the clip that they played from the film, saying, quote, "What is that clip? It's a terrible clip," to which Jon replied, telling Hugh to make a better movie. You could really tell that Jon was fed up with Hugh and his attitude on the show. Jon went on to say that because of his poor experience with Hugh, he'd never have him back on his show. At number 9, Harmony Korine. I think it's an unspoken rule that when you're a guest somewhere, you should try to be on your best behavior. One person who really should have followed this rule is director Harmony Korine, who's best known for the movie Spring Breakers. There was once a time when Harmony made a number of appearances on The Late Show with David Letterman in the mid to late 90s. This was also during a time when Harmony was reportedly on a lot of drugs. Though he was a frequent guest on the show, his appearances just stopped all of a sudden, and no one really knew why until 2013 when Letterman revealed the truth as to why the director was banned from coming on the show. Apparently, Letterman caught the director going through Meryl Streep's purse one time, and that was just the last straw for the late night host. When talking about this fateful event, Letterman said, quote, "I went upstairs to greet Meryl Streep and welcome her to the show. I knocked on the door and she was not there. I looked around and saw Harmony going through her purse. True story. And so I said, that's it, put her things back in her bag and get out." End quote. After that, Harmony was no longer welcome on the show and hasn't been back since. Before we carry on talking about these rude celebrities, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Bobcat Goldthwait. I think this goes without saying, but don't go setting fire to things. Back in 1994, actor Bobcat Goldthwait was a guest on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and during his guest appearance, the actor decided decided to just randomly set fire to his chair. At the time, Jay thought this was just a spontaneous bit, but in reality, Bobcat came prepared for this as he brought lighter fluid and a lighter that was hidden up his sleeve. Luckily, the other guest who was there that night, Lauren Hutton, was quick on her feet and doused the flames with a cup of water. Jay, understandably, was very unhappy with all this and banned Bobcat from the show. Not only that, but the actor was also charged with arson for this stunt and was ordered to pay over $3,300 in fines, some of which went towards replacing the chair he set fire to. He literally damaged the set, and if that's not rude, then I don't know what is. At number 7, Piers Morgan. I feel like when a celebrity asks for something specific, it should be given to them. I'm not talking about anything material like demanding a cup of ice chips or something. I mean a specific request in reference to the way that they're treated. For actor Kelsey Grammer, he made a very specific request when he was doing an interview with Piers Morgan, and when that request wasn't honored, there was a falling out that led to the actor being banned from the show because of the drama. When the actor made a guest appearance on Piers Morgan Tonight back in 2012, he requested that a picture of his ex-wife not be shown. He's willing to answer questions about her, but just didn't want to have a photo of her to be aired. Well, Piers didn't exactly honor that request, and when a photo of the ex-wife was shown, Kelsey stormed off set. The actor's publicist said that Piers had to take accountability for his actions because Kelsey was so mad about the situation, but instead, Piers barred the actor from his show. That was pretty rude of him. At number 6, Gene Simmons. I think we can all agree that Gene Simmons is kind of outlandish. He's a guy with a lot of energy and no filter, so when it comes to interviewing him live, you never know what he might say, but you can only hope that it won't be too offensive. At one point, the singer was a Fox favorite, making regular appearances on their programming where they would discuss hot topics in the world and would share their opinions on things. They liked the guy and liked having him on their show, but after causing a stir during a meeting at Fox and making some rude comments towards some of the other staff members, Gene got banned for life, and it was a hot topic of its own. Some of the things that Gene said to some of the women at the network got leaked, and it's not something you would want to have said to you. Let's just put it that way. After all of that went down, the singer was not welcomed back on their programming because they didn't like the way he behaved.
Number 5, the Spears. When I say the Spears family, I mean everyone who isn't Britney Spears, because what this family did to her is truly disturbing, and the star is traumatized by it to this day. Her family members, like her little sister Jamie Lynn Spears, have claimed that it's been really hard growing up in Britney's shadow, and it caused Britney to completely lose her cool and go off on her family members to say, "Are we really going to say it was hard being my sister? Really?" The star even went on to note that she's so far beyond done with her family that all she wants to do is spit in their faces and trash them on Instagram, and I don't blame her. She then went on to tell her fans, "They hurt me and nothing was done except that I lost 15 years of my life. My family owning my name. Subjected to an angel while my dad has 5 women on his tour bus drinking that cup of coffee. So cool and smooth, it must have been nice owning my name for 15 years. Not only that, her family has also used Britney's money to treat themselves to spa days where Britney was left out of, and the star couldn't even treat herself to a cup of coffee. Number 4, the Lohans. It's clear that Lindsay Lohan has never had a peaceful, normal life, and much of this reason is because her relationship with her parents has been pretty confusing, not only to her, but also to the public, as Lindsay's upbringing has had her in a turbulent situation as she's been caught in the middle of her parents' divorce and feuds. And in the process, her parents haven't exactly been so kind, as her dad has done nothing but embarrass her. From telling the media that his daughter needed help and that she's in a fragile state, to releasing a phone call he taped in an attempt to prove his point, to disapprove those around Lindsay who were saying she was fine. He even convinced Lindsay at one point that she was crazy when there was nothing really wrong with her. In one voicemail he sold to the press, Lindsay could be heard crying about how no one in her family respected her and that it was never really about her, and the people around her say that they care about her when they really don't. And honestly, that was just really sad to see that happen to her. Number 3, the Carters. If it wasn't for the show House of Carters, we may have never seen how off this family was when it came to their feuds, especially when it came to the relationship of Nick and Aaron Carter. Nevertheless, the show left little to imagination, as Aaron faced a run-in with the law and slowly started to drift away from fame, as he would then expose that there was a lot more family drama when the cameras were off. At one point, the family had such a public altercation, and due to the nature of the events, Nick and his sister Angel even even ended up seeking a restraining order against their younger brother Aaron. In the process, Aaron's behavior grew alarmingly to the point he even confessed he was having not the kindest thoughts about his family. While the star was begging his family to listen and help him get the help he needed, all they chose to do was block him out, and in the end, Aaron would be left saddened by what his family did to him, and that their lies truly broke his heart. Number 2, the Meesters. It would be a shame to say that Gossip Girl star Leighton Meester should make this list today, as she's truly kind and sweet in real life, but her mother Constance, on the other hand, deserves to be on this list. So back in the day, the two actually became estranged following a heated legal battle involving allegations over the misuse of the actress's money. And then when the two finally got to court, they even debated whether or not her mother deserved compensation for the role she played when it came to Leighton's acting career, which is truly disturbing because Leighton worked really hard to get to where she is today in her acting, and she probably in the process already treated her mom to all the luxuries in the world. Although the case ended in 2011, as the actress prevailed with a default judgment against her mom, it doesn't mean that it has exactly been smooth sailing for these two since. But honestly, parents need to stop thinking they can just live off their children's fortunes. Number 1, the Winter Workmans. In 2017, Modern Family star Ariel Winter would open up about her estranged relationship with her mother, Crystal Workman, and with it, we were all shocked at the fact a mother could treat her child the way Crystal treated Ariel. So after Ariel legally emancipated herself from her mother at the age of 14, she would reveal that the two haven't spoken to each other in nearly a decade. As Ariel claimed, there was a lot of physical and emotional altercations that happened when she had a relationship with her mother. During court, eventually Ariel's mother would come forward with all the allegations to admit to it to rekindle her relationship that she had with Ariel despite their terrible past. But it doesn't seem like Ariel is exactly ready to rekindle her relationship with her mother, and I don't blame her. Because to be put on strict diets and forced to stay out late at parties and to dress in an older way so men would pay attention to her isn't exactly the type of thing a parent should do.
In at number 10, Demi Lovato. Demi Lovato got tons of backlash after she tried to cancel a small business because she didn't like the products that they were selling. Demi decided to grab some frozen yogurt from a popular froyo place in LA called The Big Chill, but she wasn't happy with what she saw while in the shop and shared her disdain with her over 100 million Instagram followers, writing on her story, quote, "Finding it extremely hard to order froyo from The Big Chill when you have to walk past tons of sugar-free cookies / other diet foods before you get to the counter. Do better, please." Adding the hashtag diet culture vultures. This caused an online feud between Demi and the shop, where Demi called them diet vultures, while they said they were just selling products for their broad customer base, which includes diabetics, celiac, and vegans. The general consensus around this whole event is that Demi is an entitled Karen, and she needs to realize that the world does not revolve around her. Of course, her anger was spurred from her long struggle with food issues. However, she should not have publicly tried to ruin a small business, especially during a pandemic. In at number 9, Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan gained a reputation for being rude during his scandal with Meghan Markle, and there's actually a dating story behind it makes the whole thing even more juicy. So apparently Piers asked Morgan out on a date before she was with Harry, of course. And rumor has it that they went out on the date, but Meghan ghosted Piers after, so this could be the reason that he is constantly critical of her. More recently, after Meghan's explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey, Piers did not hold back, trashing her on Good Morning Britain. Before him and the other hosts could even discuss the topic, he went on raging about how the interview is tarnishing the reputation of Britain around the world and hurting everything the Queen has worked so hard for. He also said that he doesn't believe a word that she says. He later left the show after outrage against his comments. In at number 8, James Corden. James Corden seems really nice on camera, but is well known for being awful off set. His rep is so bad that he did a Reddit AMA in 2019, and it practically turned into a roasting session, with tons of people bringing up terrible encounters they had with Corden. Apparently, he goes out of his way to be mean, like advocating for lower pay for TV writers. Literally, why would a rich celebrity ever do that? I have no idea. Apparently, Corden is also known to be rude when fans ask for photos or an autograph with him, especially if he's on set filming. Members of his crew have also claimed that he throws tantrums over minor things and is terrible to work for. He's basically the male version of Ellen. In at number 7, David Letterman. Several old interview clips of David Letterman's have resurfaced recently, and many are saying that he crossed major lines. One example was with Lindsay Lohan from 2013. She did the interview recently at a rehab, and Letterman persistently asked her questions about it. Even though she said many times during the interview that she didn't want to talk about it, he still kept pressing, leading her to cry. Next up was Janet Jackson. Letterman was pressing her about her infamous Super Bowl incident, asking her questions about how the wardrobe malfunction came to be. Right after she was asked about it, she replied, quote, "I don't want to relive any of that." But Letterman kept asking while Jackson looked very sad. And in both of these cases and more, Letterman was definitely rude to his guests and crossed major lines with them when they couldn't stand up for themselves. In at number 6, John Mayer. John Mayer is known for his sensual songs about love, but the image that you have of him in your head is probably not true, and he's actually pretty rude in real life. Mayer has spoken poorly about a lot of women that he's dated, including Jessica Simpson and Jennifer Aniston, both of whom still hold grudges to this day. And he said some pretty nasty things about women in general as well, making very inappropriate comments about women, and even going so far as to say that he only finds white women attractive and literally no one else. And speaking of all that, John has also used a lot of racial slurs in the past, saying the N-word with the hard R on a few occasions, and he actually never even apologized. So yeah, remember that next time you hear him on the radio.
Up next again is Tiffany Haddish and her interview. She looked stunning in her custom-made green gown when a reporter asked if she had done a costume change. Perhaps slightly put off by the term costume, Haddish goes off to explain that it was not a costume but a luxury Dolce & Gabbana gown. The reality of the awkwardness sets in as the reporter tries to stealthily move on, but Haddish wants to reaffirm herself. She continues saying, "It's called an evening gown, darling." Watching the clip, you can tell the reporter regrets everything as she continues to play cool and admits defeat, but the damage was done and Haddish was not. She explained that the dress was paid by herself and that was what success looked like. Coming up is Zuri Hall blanking out at the red carpet. Like I said, the hustle and bustle of these types of events are the partial reasons why reporters tend to mess things up. And it's fine, we're all human here, which is why I think E! News reporter Zuri Hall can back me up on that statement. She arrived at the 2017 Oscars red carpet in a beautiful sheer and feathery dress. Perhaps it was so beautiful she ended up forgetting who actually designed it. Is it disrespectful to forget the name of the designer? I think it's an honest mistake, but that doesn't take away the minor embarrassment she probably felt while that was televised across national television. Up next we have Ashley Graham's interview with Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. Momoa and his wife showed up to the 2019 Oscar Awards when it happened. When they were interviewed by model Ashley Graham, she requested that he give her a haka move. Haka refers to the many ceremonial dances from the Maori people. Momoa is immediately hesitant and it doesn't go unnoticed by Graham as she eggs him on to do it. Bonet is clearly unimpressed, offering some type of explanation that you can't hear what she's saying, but her husband cuts it off and gives Graham what she wants. The internet was not happy with this exchange. One user called her corny while many others said that she was disrespecting his culture as he is from Hawaii and not New Zealand, where the Maori culture originates. At least he's familiar with some of the customs though, as he explained in a completely separate interview unrelated to the Oscars that his family's roots go back and forth from Hawaii and New Zealand at some point. Regardless, Graham pushing him to do that wasn't a good look for her. Coming up are the South Park creators and their red carpet looks. Creators of the hit cartoon comedy, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, confessed to everything that went down that evening in the year 2000. To put it shortly, they did not take anything seriously, despite Parker being nominated for an award. The original plan was to dress up in duck costumes, but out of fear they would be denied entry, they went for dresses to blend in with everyone else. So that's what they did. They dressed up in their dresses that were nods off to outfits Jennifer Lopez and Gwyneth Paltrow had worn previously, and to top it all off, were also extremely under the influence. They explained even stepping out of the vehicle was an experience due to their incapacitated state. They managed to get through the carpet and the interviews. They were smart and had it all planned out, vowing that they don't acknowledge the dresses, and if they were asked to divert and avoid it at all costs. Next up is Dakota Johnson, low-key snapping at her mom. During the 2015 Academy Awards, Johnson brings her mother, fellow actress Melanie Griffith, as her date. Knowing Johnson and her collected bluntness, what happened shouldn't come off as surprising. While they were being interviewed together, Griffith was asked if she had watched her daughter's movie. She declined, saying it would be strange. The movie in question? 50 Shades of Grey, and we're all aware of the nature of that film. So to not want to see it for those reasons as a mother, it's totally understandable. Johnson cuts in and said it would be fine and she'll watch it one day. After all, it's just a movie since everything is fictional. When the reporter accepts this answer and reaffirms how well her daughter did in the film, Griffith continues and says, well, she's a really good actress, I don't need to see it to know how good she is, which sparked mild irritation from Johnson, who gets a little snappy and says she doesn't need to watch it. It's kind of awkward for the reporter as she comes in to soothe the awkward family interaction. While it might have been awkward to watch it unfold, mother-daughter bickering is more common than you'd think.
At number 10, we have Ariana Grande. Ariana once got banned for life from a donut shop after the star was caught on camera licking a bunch of donuts she didn't pay for. In 2015, the star entered the Wolfie Donut shop with some friends. When the clerk went to the back room, Grande would proceed to lick some donuts that she didn't pay for. Later, the owner of the restaurant watched the video and would end up banning her from the location for life. They would also go to try press charges against her. However, nothing ever went through with the charges because the incident would have only cost $4 for the donut she didn't pay for. The owner, however, was very upset with Ariana and said not even an apology from Grande would have caused him to change his mind. Unfortunately for Grande, the incident would have caused her a chance to be booked to play a gig at the White House, and she would later go on to make jokes about herself for the incident. Number 9, Britney Spears. After having a pretty public mental breakdown, Britney Spears made a spectacle of smearing food across her face in a restaurant. Britney was described as acting weird by fellow staff and celebrities present at the time of the incident. While sitting at her table, Britney started to play dress up with her dinner. While many were left feeling concerned and disturbed by the incident, the staff were quick to check on the star and escorted her from her table and out of the restaurant. Britney would then be later informed that she was no longer welcome in the restaurant or on the hotel grounds itself. Now, her behavior herself wasn't a sin or rude behavior, however, how she portrayed herself in public and how she never issued an apology for her actions definitely made some people raise some eyebrows. Luckily for Britney, after she cleaned herself up, the restaurant lifted its ban of 2 years and she was later pictured celebrating her 28th birthday. Now, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Ruby Rose. Ruby Rose was once kicked out of a bar in New Orleans for allegedly throwing fries at the waitstaff. The star was described by the owner as being a child because she threw a big tantrum in the middle of the restaurant. After she threw the tantrum, the staff booted her from the establishment, where she then started to curse out the bartender and even began to throw food at the staff member. Ruby later would write a Facebook post where she didn't deny throwing the fries. However, she did explain why she did it. Ruby claimed that they waited 60 minutes for the fries and over 90 minutes for food that never showed up to the table. When they asked the bartender what was taking so long, he offered Ruby and her table some free drinks. When the star told the bartender no thanks, she said he started to mock her and her friends. At one point, the bartender even told her to go call her sponsor, and that's when the star reacted to throwing a french fry at the staff member. Ruby would later say she regretted how she acted and maybe she wouldn't throw french fries again. But maybe next time the bartender wouldn't be so insensitive. Number 7, Stuart Raw. Not only has Stuart been kicked out of Nobu, but he's also been banned from the popular Japanese restaurant. Back in 2012, the New York Post reported that the billionaire was banned for life as he tried to bribe people to give up their table for him. He then continued to call the manager Sharon, demeaning names, while he was escorted out of the restaurant. However, the drama wouldn't stop there. Stuart would then send an email to Nobu co-owner Drew demanding that the manager be fired and seat some big name celebrities such as Leonardo DiCaprio, Alicia Keys, and Mark Wahlberg. This also isn't the first time the billionaire hasn't played well with others, as the star has allegedly started fights with Tiger Woods and has even been thrown out of a celebrity Hamptons party after being labeled a stalker. If we learned anything from Stuart, it's that just because you have money, it doesn't give you the right for a free pass. Number 6, Jamie Kennedy. Jamie Kennedy once helped save a woman in a car crash after getting kicked out of a restaurant in Houston. After performing at the Houston Improv, the comedian decided to head over to the Yard House for some drinks with his friends. However, the management staff at the Yard House had to ask Jamie to leave and proceeded to escort the star out of the building for using profanity with the waitstaff. After leaving the establishment without a fight, Jamie decided decided he wasn't ready to go home for the night and proceeded to head to a different bar. Around 2:40 a.m., when the star was walking to the next location, a car flipped over up onto the sidewalk, where they were walking just 10 feet in front of them. Jamie and his entourage then proceeded to help the two women out of the smoking car. Number 5. David Lee Roth. In 2019, David Lee Roth had a pretty bizarre red carpet interview that taught us all that you can either wear all sorts of outlandish things or nothing, and you can also be as provocative as you want in the name of artistry, and flaunt your questionable decisions all over social media. The king of being completely insane during the red carpet interview will always go to David Lee Roth. David, who was set to perform at the Billboard Music Awards, was being interviewed by E! on the red carpet special. During the interview, he would start out on solid footing, discussing Van Halen's dance influence and how what they did in the 80s has informed today's pop music, which was okay. But things took a quick turn when he decided to quickly go off the rails, and somehow West Side Story, Lowriders, and David's abundance of black and Hispanic friends all came up. The whole interview was just him inspiring to get on Miley's level of interviews, and it was just completely weird. Go give it a watch. Number 4. Tiffany Haddish. When Entertainment Tonight's Lauren Zima seemed to have accidentally called Tiffany Haddish's new Oscar after party dress a costume change, things quickly went south, and when Tiffany fired back at Lauren saying, "I'm not wearing a costume, I'm wearing Dolce & Gabbana," the actress was clearly not done firing back at the reporter when she then went on to educate her on costumes and outfits by saying, "It's called an evening gown, darling. No one is paying for this. I paid for it. It's custom. Thank you." That's when the reporter jokingly announced it was her time to pass away, pretended to faint in an attempt to ease the tension, and Tiffany's response, may I add, was, "This is what fame looks like, this is what success looks like, this is what money looks like," and yeah, the moment is just as brutal to watch as you would expect. And take notes, because if it's not Halloween, it's not a costume, and you definitely don't want to make the same mistake unless you want to be embarrassed on the red carpet by some of Hollywood's biggest stars. Coming number 3, we have Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow once left Emma Chamberlain in a pretty awkward red carpet interview. That became one of the most hilarious and viral moments of 2022 when Emma, who is a big YouTuber, was interviewing Jack Harlow for Vogue. What started off as a pretty interesting interview would then randomly turn a different way when Jack decided out of nowhere that he was going to hit her with a totally random "love you," and then he quickly turned away and left the interview. Now you're probably wondering what happened next. Well, as the rapper walked away, the camera would zoom in on Emma, and it would give us a glorious image of her staring into space and questioning her entire reality, which was honestly a 10 out of 10 reaction, but considering their age difference, the gesture was just completely weird. Number 2, we have Sutton Strachey. Okay, we all know that there's no one more dramatic than the Real Housewives cast. As they always seem to do shady things at the most random times, like the time Sutton Strachey showed up to the People's Choice Awards in 2022. And just like the shows, she brought some drama. When the interviewer asked her if she would like Lisa to return to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the reality TV personality definitely didn't have anything nice to say. She then chose to look at the reporter in the camera in total silence, and she stayed like this until the reporter moved on to the next question. It was a question she actually wanted to respond to. The reporter then went on to the next question by saying anyways. But just before, if you caught a look at Sutton, you would see that she was baffled, and she looked pretty mean and scary to the point it would have caused any reporter to end the interview and move on to the next star. It's safe to say that Sutton doesn't really like Lisa and doesn't want her to return to the show anytime soon. And coming at number 1 today, we have Sacha Baron Cohen. When he showed up to the red carpet dressed as his character from The Dictator, his look was completely pushing boundaries as he proceeded on the red carpet accompanied by female bodyguards and an urn which he stated was filled with Kim Jong-un's ashes. While the whole interview and actions were very off-putting and not really professional, things took a quick turn to the worse when he decided to accidentally dump the material all over Ryan Seacrest's Burberry tux. While everyone was shocked at what actually happened, Ryan Seacrest actually showed the world what a true professional he is, and he brushed it off. And he brushed it off quite literally, may I add. But still, the interview was pretty disturbing, and Sacha shouldn't be playing sensitive games like that.